In the small town of Merrydale, 3 brothers lived: Manuel, Diego, and Dylan. Each had their own unique personalities and quirks, but Manuel had a particular habit that set him apart. He always insisted on taking the biggest and best of everything for himself. Because of this, Diego and Dylan often teased him, coming up with playful names like Master Muncher or Captain Craver. No matter how much they teased him, it never seemed to faze Manuel. He just kept on reaching for the biggest and best, as if every treat were a treasure waiting just for him. One day, their mother, concerned about Manuel's greediness, talked to her sister who lived down the road. The aunt, aiming to teach Manuel a lesson, invited the boys to a special dinner. Excitement grew as the boys remembered the delicious treats they had enjoyed at their aunt's house before. Finally, the big day arrived, a moment Manuel had been waiting for. The table was like a land of goodies, stacked high with cupcakes, jellies wiggling like happy Jell-O creatures, tiny pies with secrets inside, and a treasure of chocolates waiting to be discovered. Manuel's eyes sparkled with excitement as he couldn't help but gaze longingly at this yummy feast. As dinner began, everyone started with bread, potatoes, and salads, but Manuel quickly grew tired of the usual food. He was itching for something more exciting. His eyes twinkled mischievously as he glanced over at the plate of tiny pies, one for each person. He wanted the biggest pie, and the challenge was on. Who would snatch the biggest pie first, him or Diego? It was a race against time and tummies. The pies started making their way around the table. Diego and Dylan grabbed the smaller ones and eagerly opened them up. Manuel's eyes widened with excitement as he saw the blueberry and cherry fillings. His imagination buzzed with delicious possibilities. Now, all he could think about was getting his hands on the biggest one. The excitement was like a drum roll in his belly, anticipating his turn to dive into the mystery of the pies. As he sliced through the top, the entire pie crumbled and collapsed. It wasn't what he expected, and he felt a mix of wonder and disappointment. Tears filled his eyes, but it seemed like no one noticed his problem. Manuel, determined to be brave, nibbled on the crust and kept quiet. The excitement continued as cupcakes made their way around. This time, Manuel felt it was totally okay to claim the biggest one since his pie had let him down. But oh, his cupcake looked perfect on the outside. But when he took a bite, the center was unexpectedly bitter. What in the world could be the matter? Manuel scratched his head, puzzled. Auntie was usually a fantastic cook, and the others were happily munching away. But Manuel didn't want to say anything and risk being laughed at. It was time for the chocolates, and now Manuel was feeling really desperate. "I'll make up for lost time by grabbing the 2 largest, best-looking chocolates from the plate," he decided. "Yuck!" Manuel groaned inwardly, his face turning red with disappointment. What a horrible taste! Bravely swallowing one, he hoped the other would wash away the yucky flavor, but to his surprise, it was even worse. On the way home, Diego turned to Manuel with a grin. "What a fantastic dinner, huh?" "Fantastic what?" Manuel looked puzzled. "I thought you were having a blast." "You seemed uncomfortable. What was going on?" "What was going on?" Manuel let out a big sigh. "Everything I picked turned out to be not so great, even when I grabbed what looked the best every time." "Maybe that's why things didn't go so well, Manuel," Diego said. "If I were you, I'd share the biggest and best-looking stuff with someone else next time." That night, Manuel couldn't sleep. His brain was buzzing with thoughts about the advice Diego had shared. After much pondering, he finally decided that the coolest and safest thing for him to do would be to listen to Diego's suggestion from now on. The promise of better, fairer adventures filled his dreams, making the night feel like a wonderful journey into a land of tasty choices. And so, from that day forward, Manuel learned that sharing and considering others' feelings made everything sweeter in the end. The three brothers continued to grow up together, sharing treats and laughter,